How did you come to creating content on YouTube? Was it because you saw that there were no tutorials for the kind of sounds that you were interested in making, or did you have greater ambitions?
Hmm. On a psychological area, it was maybe because I felt a little alone with my I don't know, fandom to this genre. And I also saw there was no content about this genre on the internet, and I wanted to discover and to learn more about it. And then I thought, if there's nothing on the internet and I'm also learning it, why I'm not making content about it? I mean, I can film myself, I can show what I discovered lately. It's like people can follow me through my journey, how I discover the music, and maybe I also can teach something that way. And but also maybe I don't know, I can talk to people who know more about it, and they can teach me. And so this whole thing became, for me at least, not just a channel; it's more a community. And this is also why I called it Shoegazer, because I guess many people get it wrong, but I never really thought about it. They think I call myself Shoegazer, but it's not that I call myself that way. It's like this is the channel for any shoegazer. So this is the place. So that was the idea behind it. It's not, I would never call myself like it, actually. Because I have no clue. It's just I'm just it's just try error all the time. That's how it happened. And also my girlfriend encouraged me to do it, because I'm actually very shy. I'm always thinking 10 times before I do anything to a public audience or something like that, because
I,
I'm always afraid of making mistakes and stuff like that.
I wouldn't have
So
guessed. I wouldn't have guessed at
you
all.
wouldn't have guessed. Yeah, that's maybe that's the yeah. I learned a lot of about myself during that process, I guess. And I had bands when I don't know, between 16 and 21. I had a punk band, and I guess I was the worst frontman you could imagine because of the stuff I said on stage. It was so embarrassing for everyone, I'd say. And I guess I said stuff like that because I was not quite sure about myself. You know, I didn't know about myself, how I appear to the audience. I had no clue. I was so young. I always felt a little weird, and yeah. So people told me, "Dude, that was not cool. Don't say that again," and stuff like that. So it was really hard for me to do a channel, you know, because I knew people don't react that well to my stuff that I'm telling. So focusing on shoegaze was actually helpful for me, because I could just talk about this, about nothing else.
It's funny. I've spoken to people on my channel who have said that they were awkward in their past life, but then when they started creating content, they learned how to, I don't know, maybe they unlocked a piece of themselves that made them more comfortable in their own skin and they became less quirky. I don't know what it is. I just feel like the internet is kind of like that. It's a open playing field to help bring out the things that you truly love and bring out who you truly are.
Yeah, because at some point you can do whatever you like, you can be whoever you like and what you're passionate about, and it's really cool, actually. And also, I guess for me it was very hard to speak in another language. You know, it's not my mother tongue, and it's I don't know, I don't. It's, I guess that's the German part in me. We are always afraid of doing something wrong. You know, we're actually doing stuff really in a very good way compared to other people, but we're always thinking we're so bad, we can't do it right, and so we don't do it at all. And that's something I wanted to overcome. It's something I wanted to be more brave, always do the stuff that you're most afraid of.
What do you think the future of shoegaze looks like?
I have a vision for a very popular shoegaze sound in my head, but I'm not sure if that's the future. It's just something that I would like to hear in the world. And that's, imagine, I don't know, the quality of modern pop and trap music, but with noise. This is something that I have in my mind. I think noise could be much more a much more popular element in modern pop music, because I think it's really inspiring, and not only for nerds like we are. I also think for people, I don't know, for everyone. But the thing is that not so many people are familiar with it, or know it, or had ever had a relationship with this kind of sound. And it's always about this. I think you have, first there has to be someone who introduces it, and the more people know it and the more people are familiar with it, the more people are used to it, and then a new element can I don't know, lift up the whole music industry. And a dream of mine for sure is that this sound of noise and shoegaze would be in our popular music mind as well. But on the other hand, maybe it will lose its magic that way as well. So I'm not sure what's the right way here. I sometimes wish, I don't know, I could help to, I don't know, how is it called? I have to look up this word. Uplift, maybe? Uplift the sound of noise in modern pop music. I wish I could help there. And this is something I want to do with Uncanny Valleys as well. I think some people already started, and yeah, I would also love to be part of this movement. But maybe it's also like shoegaze during the 90s. Nobody will notice.
Well, so long as someone picks up on it eventually, right? Then
yeah, it's still so inspiring. That's the most important thing.
I'm not so sure, because, and this is why I want to talk to creatives right now, because I have a feeling that even though we're starting to get back to how things used to be, things won't ever go back to how they used to be. I just can't, I can't see 2022 and 2023 looking like 2017 and 2018.
Absolutely not.
And it's so sad, because as a content creator, as a musician, even if you're someone who is into business, it seemed like the 20s was going to be a great decade where everyone was going to come together and technology was really going to help push us forward. Before, when you looked at like the 80s and the 90s, they looked like very like significant segments of history. Now things don't work in like decades anymore. Like 10 years in the 90s is very different to today. Like I feel like we go through a whole decade in 3 years now. Our phones change, habits change.
Yep, you placed that very well. It's exactly what I think too. It's like every 3 years the world is another one. So everything is going so fast right now. Yeah, it's hard to keep up, and it's also hard to be emotionally stable during these times, because there's no rope you can grab. You can just go with it, just surfing on the wave in some way. But it's hard, because there are many waves, and there are big waves sometimes, and sometimes it throws you from the board, and it's hard to to swim and to find your board again and to step on it. It's really hard. I try to make a picture here, but I think you know what I mean.
I fully agree with you. It's so difficult, and some people, they fall off. Like, I remember when I was playing music as a kid, and like I'd never had any aspirations of playing gigs, but it was still cool to know guitar and learn how to play piano and synthesizers, and I really came to love synthesizers over the last like 5 or so years. But now it's like, it's just like the entire concept of getting a group of people together to play a gig was already looking a little murky before, and now I'm not saying it's gone. I definitely think people will want to come together and play gigs, but it just seems like there are so many things that keep people distracted, whether it's technology, whether it's this discourse. Like there are venues in my city that are turning down bands because, and I know for some people this is controversial, but like the whole vaccine thing. Like I had a band that we were putting together right before the pandemic happened, and it hit my city pretty bad to the point where we couldn't even rehearse. And now it's like, like me and like the other half of the band, like we're vaxxed and we want to be able to perform and we want to get out there with like other people and play. And then we have other people who like they're not like anti-vax, they're not against it, but they want to wait and see. And now they're getting told like you can't even come into a restaurant to eat that a few years ago we were able to sit down at. How do we expect to play gigs? How do we expect to have an audience? We're hearing people wanting to boycott certain venues because they're saying you can't have people coming in to do this or that. And it's like, I just feel like there are so many distractions that are coming up today that are keeping people from looking at like the creativity and the humanity aspects of our day-to-day lives. Now it seems like we're always looking for things to we're looking for distractions. And like I can't also tell people and dictate how they live their lives, but it's just I don't see that camaraderie of artists coming together anymore. I just don't see a group of people, whether you're young or old, coming together to create in the same way. And I hope I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, it means that we get that renaissance of creativity, which would be a beautiful thing. And I want to see that. But from what I'm seeing so far, and I'm not very optimistic for the future when it comes to content creators or artists in general.
Bam. Yeah, we're living in very uncertain times. I mean, it's hard to make, in German it's Vorhersagen.
That's a cool word.
Predictions. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Google. It's hard to make any future predictions, and we never lived in a time like this before. This is for humanity, that's the first time, and it will always be the first time, no matter how far we go. So this is, I guess, this is the task here. We have to figure it out, and we always figured it out in some way, you know. And maybe, I don't know, maybe not in 10 or in 20 years, people will say, oh, how can you remember how it was? But maybe in 3 years. Can you remember 2019? Something like that, you know. How good was it then? Yeah. And I remember that 2019 was a very shitty year and I was super stressed. But then 2020 came, and now I I don't think so about 2019 anymore. Yeah. And it's always like this. I guess humans are very nostalgic creatures, you know. We always want something back that we already know, because it gives us certainty, but there is no certainty. It's surfing all the time. Only the waves are getting bigger and more weird.
3 of your favorite effects.
You mean brands or just the sounds?
Just the sounds.
Okay, yeah, definitely. The first effect is fuzz. Not distortion, not overdrive, not heavy metal distortion or something like that. Fuzz. It has to be hairy and noisy in some way, because the world of fuzz is extremely versatile. And delay, for sure, because the combination of out of fuzz and delay is so great. It's otherworldly if you do this. And reverse reverb, the thing that I'm talking about all the time. It's that specific effect that opens so many new sound possibilities. And yours? I would be very interested in yours.
Mine? I can actually show you a couple of the pedals that over this lockdown have kind of made me really love what they are.
Please show us.
Fuzz as well.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Something about something about fuzz. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because that's the effect of our childhood, of that era. But fuzz to me is so much more interesting than distortion, than overdrive. I think it's just as versatile. You can use it in so many different ways. Even though it's very hairy and brutal, it can still sound beautiful. That to me is incredible, and that's why I like I'm a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan, but it's not even just like trying to jack their signal chain. Like I find I have maybe like 10 different fuzzes and I alternate between them because they're so unique, and I don't know what it is. It's something about fuzz.
Yeah, that's definitely a weak point for me too. It's hard to save any money if you're so much in love with fuzz pedals.
How many fuzz pedals have come through your collection? Guesstimate.
What many people maybe do not know is that I have to sell lots of stuff, because I wouldn't be able to do anything if I would spend my whole money on pedals. That's the problem. So I have to sell, and I always have to pick the right stuff that I really love. And yeah, so I had all these custom pedals. These were my, I guess my favorite fuzz pedal ever is the Rocket Fuzz by Debbie Ever. And also anything that Debbie ever made. It's hard to make or many different styles with these pedals, but they have something so unique about them. That's a sound I connect with Godzilla and stuff like that. Really inspiring. And at the moment I have the Dream Mangler by Debbie Ever, a very rare pedal. I found it here on eBay in Germany, and I had to buy it, whatever it costs. So yeah, this is something I have. And I try to collect rare pedals, I guess.
Yeah.
And you? What's yours?
I just want to say Debbie Ever, legend.
Oh yeah.
Legend. I remember like 2012, 13, when I was in my obnoxious hipster phase. I would go on Pitchfork every single day to read about bands and stuff. There was nobody creating guitar pedals as great as Devi was.
No, nobody.
That.
And I also loved her style, and I don't know, she didn't give a shit.
Oh yeah.
Anything. I really like that about her. I also liked her pedal demos. You know, I was looking for fuzz pedals on the internet, and her demos were just like, I put the camera here, I use this tiny amp, and I show you how my fuzz pedal sounds. And I was like, what? But it doesn't matter what she used. You always got the spirit of the pedal, and I always wanted them. So really like that about her.
For sure.
She definitely inspired the aesthetics of the channel as well.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think these whole caddish weird thing, it's all about these don't give a shit, just do it, have fun. Yeah, that's
nice.
I hope it stays like this, but because sometimes I'm very emo and I take myself too serious, but she inspires me. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, Devi, legend.
Definitely.
I like phaser as well. I have a lot of phaser pedals, and I don't know why I like phaser so much. Maybe again the Smashing Pumpkins. Maybe it's a lot of the country music that I was listening to, like singer-songwriters in the 70s would use a lot of two-stage phaser just to add some movement to their guitar tracks. I obnoxiously keep a compressor, an overdrive, this phaser, or one of my many other phasers, and a space echo on at all times, to the point where it's like all of my guitar tracks are sounding way too similar, but I find that
that's your style. I wish I had something like you have. Something like this is the sound I'm doing. So I wish I had that, but maybe I also have it, but it's very complicated for me to fix this on one guitar chain. So I bought, for example, this is my most favorite pedal at the moment. It's actually a multi-effect pedal by Line 6, the HX Stomp XL. Maybe you know this. The HX Stomp is this little, and the bigger version allows me to switch between all the sounds that I'm having in my mind, and also when I'm producing, I'm using lots of different sounds, like sometimes a little slow divers, sometimes a little Deepish Mode, sometimes a little, I don't know, Astro Bright, My Bloody Valentine. And when you combine all this stuff, you can switch between all these effects all the time. So you have to choose something with multi-effects that makes this possible. And I really like this pedal. It sounds amazing. And also the fuzzes. These are digital fuzz sounds. They sound sometimes better than my fuzz pedals.
Really?
I really love this.
How important to you is amplification when it comes to the creative process within shoegaze and any genre in particular?
I think here's the big disappointment for some people out there. let's say it's always important for me what you want to do with it. I'm using amps on a stage or in a practice room. This is where amps belong for me. I don't use amps so much at home because my neighbors would kill me if I would do this. And yeah, I tried, as I said, sometimes I need to buy gear that I want to demonstrate and stuff like that. So I always try to save money, and I also have my studio at home. So I have to care for my neighbors as well. That's the point. But I found something that's really interesting for me, and this is the technology of IRs, of impulse responses. And since I tried out for myself and also copied my amp, I don't hear the difference. The only difference that it makes is that when I record my amp, for example, I hear what I'm doing in the room. I hear my strumming, I hear my breathing, I hear my talking, I hear everything. But the characteristic of it, of the IR, is exactly the same like the one that my amp has. So it's actually sounding exactly like my amp, just without the noise that I don't want to have on my record in the first place. So I think this is the future. So we are slowly moving to I don't know, a generation that will be used to use maybe virtual reality and stuff like that. And we're just coming from, or we're still living in times of pandemic times, if you want so, where people were stuck at home. So we have to find new ways to make music and to sound like we would like to sound. And I think a digital transition is very welcome then. So if you have the possibility to generate your amp sound that you have on stage actually just at home in a tiny little plug-in that uses IRs, that's amazing. And you could, I don't know, I imagine people at some point wearing VR glasses, playing guitar and having exactly their sound and playing concerts, you know, for the whole world. It would be possible, I guess. It's not looking that great at the moment, but we're not far from that point, I guess. So
we're definitely closer to that than we are to the days of big old Marshall stacks. And, you know,
I think so too.
As cool as that era was, I've never really liked just loud, to be completely honest.
Me neither. I also visited concerts of my favorite bands, and sometimes they turned the speaker to 11, I'd say, and nobody was enjoying it. Everyone was like, oh my god, I want to go, but this is my favorite band, and the ears were bleeding, and everyone was like, I hate them at the moment. But I don't know, we need that. We definitely need these cultural possibilities to let out, I don't know, volume and noise and stuff like that, and sing together, dance together. This is important, but I want to keep my ears.
I think we've come so far with technology, and we've also come so far with how we consume and listen to music and how we create music. We should be looking more towards like IR. We should be looking more towards amp simulation, because it's not only healthier, but I personally think that there's more sound possibilities with what we have today.
I think if Kevin Shields is watching, he just stopped the video right here and he's sleeping in and bored. I don't like My Bloody Valentine because they are so loud, or something like that. It's not about the volume or stuff like that. It's because the sound of their record, Loveless, for example, is really interesting. I like their artwork. I like the whole concept of this music, I'd say. But it's never been about being the loudest musician, or you need 10 amps to create shoegaze music. This is actually why I made the channel, because that's the myth. It's so I don't know. It's funny that people still trying to do it that way, but I mean, you can do it. You can spend all your money on that gear. Rent a room for, I don't know, $250 a month. Put all your amps inside. Be the loudest band in the practice room. You could also write great music at home on your laptop, if you want so, for example. If you want so, or just on headphones with, let's say, this Helix pedal, HX Stomp or stuff like that. You can create so many good music with that. You just have to know what you're doing. And that's why I'm always excited to teach at some point, to make the way a little bit easier, because nobody told me unfortunately.
Do you have any recommendations for the audience? Pedals, music, other YouTube channels, anything at all?
I wouldn't recommend specific gear, actually. The whole thing that I really want to give people on their way with is just do creative stuff and what you like with the stuff that you already own. I'm not so materialistic, That's a really weird thing to say, because the whole channel was based on effect pedals in the first years, and about buying new gear, and the whole business model of a YouTuber is about products and advertising and stuff like that. Find your own creativity with the stuff that you already own, because there it is. Everything else can be just too overwhelming, and you are already unique. You are you, I am me, and nobody else is, so everything is already there. Just find the tools to realize it. Get a good interface. I really recommend the Focusrite Sapphire interface, for example. Focusrite is, after my experience, the best for a low budget and in the highest quality. That's definitely what I would recommend. I also recommend trying out Ableton Live if you want to record something. Even the free version is very good. It's a very modern DAW, and there are lots of DAWs, but I really can recommend this to everyone. So just try to check it out. And don't always look for the most expensive stuff, but don't buy the cheapest stuff as well. So find the mid spots and buy used. Used stuff is always great. You find so much cool things out there that nobody owns, and that can make a very unique sound, for example. Yeah, this is something I would recommend. I'm excited to hear what people are creating in the upcoming years.